Hi, Gina.
Hi, Ione. Hi, everyone. I'm Gina, the senior editor of Polyester.
And I'm Ione, the founding editor-in-chief of Polyester. And this is the Polyester Podcast, a feminist pop culture podcast dissecting the discourse on a weekly basis.
Please make sure to like, rate, subscribe, and review. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to our membership platform for exclusive podcast-centered perks. We're offering exclusive video episodes, secret mini episodes, and even episodes centered on what you want us to talk about across different tier options. Go check it out at the link in our description. Do we have any reviews, Ione?
Yeah, we do. So
What?
Nothing. I just remembered that I have a whole Hawaiian pizza in the fridge at home that I haven't brought in for lunch.
Have you had your Hawaiian pizza knots yet?
No, so I got out to make me Hawaiian pizza and I forgot to bring it in.
Make
Sorry.
it?
Yeah.
From what?
From a margarita pizza. Because you know you can't buy Hawaiian pizza anymore. It's fucking crazy.
You know what? You say that now, and I really do think I've not seen one before.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, on to the
You
reviews.
need to go to Asda so when you do your own. Maybe you can do it there.
Well, I got Alf to do that for me.
What
Anyway,
a man.
reviews. The best. 5 stars. Oh, gee. Put another fake one in.
How's it fake?
It's from Grace.
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry, Grace. I didn't connect those dots.
This is from our very good friend and beauty editor, Grace. Ione and Gina are my favourite parasocial relationship. Their commentary on the discourse is well researched and deep, but also often hilarious. They have a great dynamic and are not afraid to disagree or challenge each other. Love the polyester ladies, of which she is one. Thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you, Grace.
On Spotify, Heather, who has a lovely Moomin display pic, says, "Thanks for making my Monday morning commute more bearable, guys." And Brianna Arnold says, "Love this episode and the podcast overall. To me, this is about Labubus. It was kind of icky watching people basically compete for the Labubu on PopMart/resale places, but also watch reels of people with 8 Labubus, Lafufus on a bag chain. It's the shortened cycles of these kind of kitschy toys and how hard someone will go to get one, only for it to be abandoned in record time. I'm not sure if kitschy was the right word, but at this point, I don't know what anything is in these strange times. Love you all so much," which is very cute.
Thank you, everyone.
We love you.
You're so kind to us. The Spotify comments have started going off more and more now. I love it.
Yeah, I love chatting to you all on Spotify, apart from when you're mean to me.
Yeah, please don't be mean to anyone. What are we talking about this week, Ione?
Tattle life, gossip sites, Justin Bieber crashing out, and standing on business.
The Welsh Five.
The Welsh Five, which I know nothing about.
I can't wait to tell you about it.
And I guess basically it's kind of just a conversation that never really stops, and there's always just like new things to add to it because people continue to be fucking pricks on the internet. But the reason why we're talking about this right now is because what's Justin Bieber been doing, Gina?
He's been crashing out.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because one of the articles literally just says that.
Yeah, it's like, what does crashing out mean? Justin Bieber is doing it.
Yeah. Alyssa Goldberg wrote for the USA Today, which is Justin Bieber is crashing out according to fans. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
So it just means that he's been like papped a few times, looking quite disorientated, and he's also been arguing with paparazzi. And I think a big part of it is also people like reading into his posts online. So he's always been.
I don't know if you have to read into it. He's crashing out.
But he's always been like that online, I think. He's always posted like absolutely banana shit. Like Britney Spears edge stuff. Now people are trying to like be Selenators.
I don't know the terms. Like, also I think the thing is the Hailey Bieber, Justin Bieber and
Selena
Gomez law is like so deep, so long, and so omnipresent on the internet. Like, I get fed all of it so much and I literally have no idea what the fuck any of it means. But then it seems that Justin Bieber is seeming more and more like he's crashing out.
Yeah, not well, basically.
So he had that speech where he was like, "I'm standing on business." What was the quote?
You're clocking that I'm standing on business?
Clocking that I'm standing on business, yeah.
Which is an all-timer for a quote from a celebrity, to be honest.
And then he's been wearing, like, looking a bit scruffy, saying, like, yeah, very memeable things, but obviously people are just, like, taking it way too far. And also, I think I say this all the time, yeah, so sorry to the listeners, but just say it to your mates. Like, talk to your mates about it.
Tagline of the podcast. I'm going to put it in the podcast description.
Like, just talk to your friends and then you'll get to a point where you'll be like, haha, it's funny, but it is also sad. There you go. Great.
Or
cool.
talk to us. in the podcast chat about it.
But like by tweeting and turning it into this massive thing, it's like it becomes more of like a cultural zeitgeist, and then like it actually affects the person you're doing it about. Like, remember how everyone was so nuts about Liam Payne, and then he died, and then everyone was like, everyone's nuts. And then the same with like everyone that's died in the
Like Caroline Flack, all sorts of people. I think that, yeah, the idea of visible gossiping versus like invisible gossiping, people have kind of like blurred those into being one thing, but they're very different.
Also, just not even gossiping, it's like turning people into jokes and like this like consumable product, like their behavior as a product, which is also like it ties into the Justin Bieber stuff because of paparazzi. Like, it's the paparazzi that are catching these moments, and that he's being antagonized by, basically. And like, I know different celebrities have like very different relationships with the paps, like whether they call them themselves or whether they don't. But I think if someone's like obviously looking distressed, maybe don't. But then it's obviously such a like vulturous thing that you get more money if he does like attack you or crashes out at you or whatever. So it's like this kind of vicious cycle, and the person that's really getting most harmed is like the celebrity themselves, which obviously minimal respect for celebrity culture. But Justin Bieber has been famous since he was like a baby.
Yeah, that's the thing that really gets my goat with him, is that like he never asked to be famous.
I mean, he did, but he was like 12, so no one makes
That's what
that.
I mean. Though, like the things I was asking for when I was 12, like should not be given to them. And I think that a lot of this, since the rehearsal season 1, I'm always like, it's so fucked up, like the child celebrity complex of like parents making their kids be famous, especially since, what's the memoir we read?
I'm glad my mum died.
Yeah, like the reasons that why like a parent would want to put their child into these situations, which will follow them for the rest of their life, or will like have some impact on them in some way, even if it's not in the public eye, is so scary and weird. Like, I just can't get my head around it. And it's even worse now because of like influencer culture, the way that kids are influencers, parents who like then get outed for like making their kids into influencers.
Well, there's less of a like it like filtered by industry on it, right? Because like we can decide if people get famous or not from our phones. So it's like someone doesn't need to sign a record deal or get like discovered by Usher to become famous anymore.
Not discovered by...
That's what happened to Justin Bieber.
I know, it just made me laugh.
It's the truth.
The two options.
They are the two options. Or like hired by Disney and like auditioning for the Mickey Mouse Club kind of thing. It's like now your parent, even if you don't become famous from it, your parents can commodify you from birth, which is crazy.
Yeah, like your kids shouldn't be a consumable product.
No.
They're people. They're people, guys. Wake up.
But then it also kind of feeds into, and we've spoken about like gossip sites a few times, from like especially Dumois, which I will say I feel so reformed from being a Dumois addict. Like, even when she blocked us on Instagram, long time listeners of the pod will remember, I did not unfollow Dumois. And then a few months ago, I just had a fucking enough. I was like, I don't give a fuck about anything that I'm looking at here. Like, why do I need to know who's at Balthazar, or like who's on the fucking, like who's in all these places, like who's in Sexy Fish? I actually do not fucking care, like, one bit.
You know who's not in Sexy Fish?
Just Glyn.
No, I totally agree. I was
famously not.
Well, when Cory's World, who's part of the Welsh Five, was saying that it got really scary for him, Tattle life in particular.
Maybe you should explain who Cory's World and the Welsh Five are.
Okay.
Because I barely know.
So Cory's World is this TikTok influencer. He just does like what I do in a day videos, which are just like him like getting a corned beef pasty from Greg's, then going to the Harvester, then going
so Greg's sell corned beef pasties?
They do in Wales. They do in Wales. And then like going to the Harvester, then having like lunch with his mum, and then he comes home and plays like Mario Party with his girlfriend, and they get a Indian takeaway. And she's also like does it online, where she like does the same sort of videos but from her point of view, and the reaction they get is barbaric. Like, it's actually really, really shocking. And then they ended up getting their friend Charlie involved in
what's type of the reaction? Like, you don't have to say all the nasty stuff, but like, what's the vibe?
Honestly, like so extreme. They're like suicide threats, people saying like you're disgusting, you're foul, like you're the worst thing that could a part of humanity, like how you're not embarrassing yourself, you're gonna die from the way that you eat, like all this really, really vicious stuff.
Because they're fat,
and I think especially because they're working class. And then, because like those what I do in a day videos are so normalized, like everyone does them across the internet. But just because you're not like popping in sexy fish, and you're
We
going
need to
to
go to
like,
Sexy Fish
and you go
now.
in the carvery, it's the same thing. Like it's literally the same thing, and I think that's why loads of people like them. That's why they've got so big, because people relate to it. Like, oh, this is actually what my life's like. And when it was first starting out, it was a lot more like, oh, I work my job, and then we've got a delivery. Me and my girlfriend's got a delivery job in the evening, and then we're paying off our debt, and like, eventually he's been able to make TikTok his full-time job, which is great for like for him, but apparently not. So his girlfriend Leah, they've got a friend from school, Charlie, who also does videos, and then they've like linked up with two boys from, not from Barry because they're from Barry originally, but from another part of Wales, and those five became like the Welsh Five, and they'd go on like holidays together and blog each other and like give excuses on each other's videos. They also became really good friends with Becky Jones, who's from the northwest of England, and went on like a cruise with her. And then a few days ago, basically Cory did like a 20-part TikTok series where he's like, now Tattle Life's been taken down, I want to tell my story, like what I found it so hard about it, about being in the public eye, about being scrutinized, but specifically like gossip websites and hate comments.
Wait, cut. Tattle Life's been taken down.
Not taken down, but like
Let's pause and explain that, because we haven't explained that yet.
Okay. Rewind.
So Tattle Life to all of our, I don't really think it's like a thing in America or like anywhere that's not the UK. So Tattle Life is basically like a Reddit meets Dumois meets anything like that, like
Meets
Twitter
Perez
hate.
Hilton.
Yeah, meets Perez Hilton. So it's like a forum, and it looks like a really old school forum as well, where it's like there's just different like snark pages. So you know on Reddit there's like snark influencers of NYC, snark influencers of LA. These are like very niche British creators, so like the Welsh Five, or like even people with just like 50,000 followers have like really long pages on there. It's also got like traditional celebrities like Katie Price, and who else is on there?
Like Mrs. Hinch, like
Zoella.
yeah, all those kinds of people.
I saw fucking Jeremy Clarkson's daughter on Lorraine complaining about her threads on there. I'm like, are you even famous? No offense. Like
second owner of Tattle Life Review.
No, but like I was just shocked that she was famous enough to have a thread on there.
They've got that telly show, haven't they? Telly show. They've got that telly show, haven't they? They've got that farm.
So there was a court case in which it was like a couple. It was a couple, wasn't it?
Yeah, this Northern Irish couple
took Tattle Life to court for like defamation, and it kind of like unmasked the owner as this man called Sebastian. What's his last name?
Sebastian Bond.
Sebastian Bond.
But he goes by another name. He goes by Bastian.
What?
Like his name's Sebastian, but he goes by.
Oh my god! I never thought Bastian as a nickname for Sebastian.
He goes by Bastian Durward online.
That's crazy. So he's a vegan influencer, and he started Tattle Life, and so he's kind of been like unmasked. People are saying it's going to be like the end of Tattle Life, because now obviously these types of suits and like cases can just come flooding in and hopefully bankrupt him. But it says that his estimated earnings on Tattle Life are only 180k a year, which seems really low considering like, but it's only from Google Ads, I guess. Like,
well, he can't monetize it any other way, can he? He's just purely running off spite.
Yeah. Yeah, so all of those kind of threads on there, like some of them are a bit less harmful. Like some of them are kind of just posting people's Instagram pictures and being like, look, she got bad filler, which obviously is still mean, but it gets really, really extreme. Like people like doxing people, intercepting people's like letters and mail and opening them and posting them. People like finding documents, like private documents, their children's schools, like hospital details, like just absolutely bananas stuff basically.
Yeah, and it's endless. Like some of these threads, like they're being updated like minute on minute. People being like, look at this post, and then,
yeah,
like,
really obsessive about it.
100 people will jump on and like just say really nasty, like specific bullying things about someone.
Like the Jeremy Clarkson's daughter that I saw on Lorraine was saying that her pregnancy was announced on there before she was announced, and it's kind of like Katie Price has said that she's like, you know, attempted to end her life like many times because of the abuse she receives specifically on Tattle Life. It's just like a really unregulated, toxic place on the internet basically, and also kind of like incites actual real life hatred in terms of like stalking and stuff.
We're back from the break.
Yeah, so, and then I think it's kind of like become even more. I just think we've done episodes on like surveillance culture and like parasocial relationships and all of this stuff, and it just seems to get more and more extreme and like never kind of like wavers in terms of how people never check their own behavior when it comes to this type of thing. It's like we refuse to learn. Like every time something bad happens, everyone's like, we'll learn, and then it just happens again. Or like a lot, I think why Tattle Life and also things like Mumsnet are so fruitful, and to a certain extent even Do Moi. And then also there's apparently like these private groups that are like spotted in London, where it's like people taking WhatsApp pictures and posting it of like them spotting Hugh Funny Whittenstall in Oxford Street or whatever. I just find it like really scary. And I used to not find it used to not bother me at all. And like I grew up, a lot of the research references this magazine called Heat magazine, which if you're not British, you probably don't know, but it was basically like a tabloidy celebrity gossip magazine that used to post like spotted, but it was like old school, like a list, or like, so Eddie Redmayne spotted at Euston Station, which I've actually spotted him there before. That's why I said it.
Personal account of celebs.
But it was like all just lists, and obviously it was a physical print magazine, so it was like a week later, but obviously it was still harmful. And they did like the circle of shame, where it was like throwing up people's cellulite and stuff like that. But a lot of the commentary in this research kind of pinpoints Heat magazine as like one of the starting points of this culture in the UK. But I also just think it's something that we've always had. Like we're just obsessed with
seeing people's faults.
Not even just faults, just like observing people, I guess, because and then casting judgment on them. Because a lot of these spotteds, like on the less insidious side, you're like, oh well, how does it mean to like post on the internet that I've said I know where a certain celebrity is? But it kind of just like breaks down a barrier of trust of where people are allowed to exist in public and not, and like reminds me of the fact that we have no like privacy in public anymore, which sounds very stupid, but you should be able to expect to live your life with a certain degree of like peace. But even now it's like every single moment, especially if you live in like a major city, is treated as something that can be like contentable. Like you can be stopped at Carnaby Street and asked like, what's the next line of this song? Like just fuck off, like I'm just trying to walk somewhere.
Yeah, no.
And imagine if you're a celebrity, oh my god, you just want to die.
It's relentless, and I think that's what I found really, to bring it back to Cory's world, what I found really interesting about is...
Oh yeah, what happened in his 20-part piece?
So he's talking about Tattle Life and how he basically like tracks through like him first, before he got on TikTok, his life, like how he grew on TikTok, he got like famous on there really quickly. Someone telling him about Tattle Life, he said he got like addicted to it, was treating it like self-harm, like checking it like hourly, like seeing what people were saying about him, and then seeing stuff that like only people that knew him very well, like the inner circle of trust, basically could share on it, kind of like you said, like Jeremy Clarkson's daughter, and like people tracking his movements. And he said that like he went on a holiday to Spain and someone was like saying everything that they were doing on the holiday, like, and then everyone was obviously jumping on it, and then some people were approaching him in the hotel to like get pictures, and he was like, I just felt so uncomfortable, like you might be the Tattle Lifer. And then what I found really interesting was, because he's from a small town, like Barry's not massive, and I think like the idea of that surveillance culture in somewhere small sounds so like petrifying as well. Like in London, or like in a major city, you do have like more of a sense of anonymity, whereas like if you grow up somewhere small, everyone knows who you are. So like not only do you have that, but then you've got like this added layer of like anyone on the street could be just slagging you off.
I also guess there's like a discussion of this, of like, unlike Justin Bieber, it's like, well, still Justin Bieber, because he still does release music and stuff, but if you make your job like filming your whole life, then do you not expect to be surveilled in public as well?
Well, this is kind of like what all the comments are saying, being really nasty to him on this like 20-part series, because they're like, you've made these videos just over a minute so you can monetize on them, and you've made them like a 20-part series so you can monetize on them, and you've done all this. And I think like people just still find it so egregious that content creators exist, and find it really infuriating, because they just see it as like not a real job. When obviously there's so much at stake of it, especially for people like Cory. And he kind of explains as well in the series, being like, look, I can't really go back to what I was doing. Like I was doing a 9 to 5. I was also working a delivery shift, like 5 to like 10. My girlfriend's now pregnant. Like we've got a mortgage. Like the idea of going back to work, like I would 100% happily, but we wouldn't be able to like support ourselves in the way that we can now. And I just feel like he's just like, it's hard to like balance all of that. And I think people are just really cruel in the comments about what the validity of this as a job, and like that you should like automatically expect to receive like such really horrible trolling and like abuse, when really, like, why have we just accepted being like, no, that is part of parcel of celebrity culture, that is part and parcel of influencer culture, when we should just all be being like, no, actually it's not good enough. There should be more limitations on the way that people can speak about one another online.
Yeah, but I guess like it's hard to police behavior online for like many reasons, and it's like what we were talking about this in the Slur episode. It's like you have to actively, it's not about necessarily like policing. It's like that study that was like, as soon as we pulled out of like educating people not to say the R word, people just started saying it again. So it's like, I feel like it's more of an education piece than a policy piece, because obviously like policing is not something that can be trusted anyway. Do you know what I mean? But then I also feel like there's another element of like, yeah, content creation is like a real job and people shouldn't be abused for it. But in a way, no offense, I don't buy the like, I could never go back to a normal job, because I believe that from a like attention point of view. Yeah, like he might find it really hard to get a real job, like how people on Big Brother couldn't go back to their 9 to 5 straight away, blah 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 blah. But it's like, is a part of it not that now you have a certain expectation on your lifestyle and you don't want to go backwards? It's not that like you would be starving.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's not to say that's good or bad, but I think it's I think I can see where people find like it easy to be hateful towards content creators because they're living like an enviable life that seems easy, and then these people are just saying, but I could never go back and do what you do because that's a shitty job. Do you know what I mean?
But
it's
I think the line is that like, you, as someone who's like received so much hate and trolling and like has this surveillance on you, if you go back to like your normal job, like he said he used to work in the Citizens Advice, you'd not only just be back on like the wage that you were on, but you'd still be getting all that shit. Like, you're being surveyed. Like, people on Tattle would still be being like, oh, Cory's doing this, Cory's doing that. I don't think it would go away.
No, I don't buy that. I think it would go away after a bit. Like, people get bored of it. Like, if you're not giving people things to talk about, they won't talk. Like, we know that for a fact.
No, people are still doing it about Becky Jones, like, big time, and she's removed herself from TikTok.
Yeah, because all her friends are still on it, and it's been only like, what, like 4 to 6 months? Like, in 2 years, there will be nothing. Like, I do think it's possible to backstep your life, like, if you're in the public eye. Obviously, like, you're never going to go completely back to normal, and there might be, like, someone in the street that looks twice at you or whatever. But I think, by and large, like, it's much... I think people do, to a certain extent, enjoy feeling more famous than they are. Not that they should, like, get abused for that, but I think people do, like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's impossible to live a normal life if you're me. It's like, it's not though, is it? Like, come on.
What?
But something that I thought was really interesting in the research, and also by saying this, obviously, I don't think anyone should receive abuse, but I also don't particularly buy this line of like, this is the only way I can live. It's like, come on, that's just not true. Like, we shouldn't have to choose. Like, people should be able to do whatever they want in life and not receive like death threats. But there is another option if you really like. Also, no, I won't even do that over also. I was just saying, like, obviously it is compulsive to check these sites, but they do exist largely in secret. Like, Tattle Life exists way more in secret than Dumois. Do you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
Like, I know it's so compulsive, and like I've been there myself with like my book reviews and stuff. But as soon as you stop looking at them, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it is about breaking yourself out of the cycle. And
yeah,
I think like, honestly, get therapy.
What I thought was so interesting though, especially is because like a lot of the podcast episodes we did last year were like hinging on like people being dissatisfied with celebrity culture and like kind of talking about how as the world gets more difficult, celebrities become like less relevant and like people are looking to them less. But there was a global survey of like around 150,000 people from 19 English speaking countries that found that Gen Z is 12 times more obsessed with celebrities than their older counterparts.
So, are we the older counterparts?
Probably, yeah. I thought we were cusps.
No, but I mean millennial.
Well, I think it just means any generation above.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, so it is never going away. It's just getting worse, and we're getting kind of like more proliferation of celebrity culture and like more avenues in which celebrity culture exists, because like, yeah, to me, like the name Cory's World means very, very little. Like I wouldn't recognize him on the street. There's just so many celebrities now.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was going to say. Like the definition of celebrity is broadened for sure, but also like the ability, the ways into like being able to reach people is so much wider, and we get like these really super niche like influencers who rack up like millions of followers. Like there's people who have like the guy who cleans pools, like people like that. Like there's just so, like he would never have been famous like what
10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah. Like you wouldn't be able to like make a living off doing the videos for that. And you wouldn't have like an audience, and you wouldn't have people disagreeing with you. You wouldn't have people giving him hate. And I'm sure he's got a Tattle life thread being like, the way he cleans a pool is disgusting. I would never clean a pool like that.
And I think people, for example, that like follow those types of accounts or follow like more niche internet celebrities would maybe say that they don't buy into celebrity culture, when really they are just in like a different font. Do you know what I mean? So you might like reject the Kardashians or reject like A-list mainstream celebrities, but you're still kind of like building parasocial relationships with people in your own life, which I think obviously it's fine to follow and enjoy the work of people, but I think there's not enough self-reflection that goes on in terms of the judgment, which again is like quite a natural thing, but then B, turning that judgment or like maybe that disapproval or like whatever into hatred that you like put out publicly. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I found really interesting in the research in this article by Lucinda Dodd, for shorthand, called "The Snark Web: Has Online Gossip Gone Too Far?" They interviewed expert Dr. Emily Setti, an academic at the University of Surrey, and she said that like a lot of people do hate comments as a way to make themselves feel better. And in a way, like we have all always said that, but I thought like her explaining it through a sociological lens made me like really like click like how that makes sense. So it's called defensive othering. So you scrutinize what others are doing as a way of positioning yourself on the right line of things. So you're saying like, I'm none of those things, I can see it, and that means that I'm not. So it's like people who are like, they're a bad parent makes them feel better about their own parenting, saying like they don't work that hard for that lifestyle, they influencing is not a real job, means that like I've got a real job.
Yeah, and I guess that's how we learn behavior and like learn our own moral positions on things, and it is how we like, but where it gets dodgy is like when it's bolstering your self-worth, I guess, like, oh well, I do this better than that, which like renders them completely awful. Do you know what I mean? Or like worthy of attack.
Yeah, I don't think it's a positive at all. I think it's just, I think it is, there's a crisis of self-worth, and that's been like produced by the internet, and then the reaction to that is people being hateful.
I think we also get like a certain amount of positive feelings by seeing someone who we deem to like have a really blessed life, like Justin Bieber, for example, really publicly not enjoy it, because then it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be jealous of it, or maybe I shouldn't yearn for that because he's got it and look, he's crashing out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not famous, but I love my wife. I'm not famous, but
what? What are you talking about?
Not like Hailey Bieber. Hailey Williams.
What?
Because everyone says that he hates Hailey.
Oh, well, I told you I don't know anything about it. It just sounded like you started monologuing.
Not monologuing. But you know what I mean? Like, again, it's that thing of people being like, well, I'll throw this shade to them, and then I get the light of not being that. And I think that's really like intriguing to me, as like a way of making yourself feel good.
Yeah. But who knows actually
because
what's going on.
literally just go rub one out. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many other ways to make yourself feel better.
But I think also it goes back to like what we were saying even about Jojo Seawater and Chris, what's his last name? Hughes. Is that like, obviously with someone like Justin Bieber, it's perceived as, and probably is, like way more authentic, because it seems like we're seeing his like raw, unfiltered emotions. But how the Selena, Hailey, Justin like trifecta is pretty much like completely manufactured from what I've seen on it by fandoms that have like kept this alive for like however long since Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez broke up, to like have their own weird like running soap opera that exists on Twitter. Like, how much of this is actually real? We're seeing a real reaction to real hate, but the motivations behind that are all completely fake. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god, yeah, like the fandoms have so much to answer for. And again, it's that thing of like I'm pitting my favourite against your favourite, because if my favourite's better than your favourite, then I've got better opinions than the fans of that person.
And they're just treating them like characters or whatever. Like it's a whole different conversations about how like people stand like actual characters in TV or film, but they're kind of just applying the exact same logic to people that aren't a character. Well, they are, or whatever. It's so confusing. Anyway, shall we finish?
Yeah, I don't want to be famous.
Yeah, you do. You always say you do.
I think I'd be an incredible famous person, but I don't think I could handle it.
Fair enough. Well, I think this is another difference between traditionally famous celebrities and new era like influencer celebrities is that, which is what. Why are you laughing?
It just made me think of like New Money, like the 1920s, like.
Oh, well, it's true.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Is that they get like a lot more traditional celebrities are a lot more shielded from the internet.
Yeah, exactly, 100%, and loads of them don't even allegedly don't even use the internet.
All right, and with that, we will finish. Thank you, Gina, for a lovely episode.
Thank you, Ione. That was brilliant.
Thank you to Zakia for the research, and Charlotte for the sound tech, and Rob for editing because Olivia is on holiday today. We also recorded this episode in a new set, which may or may not give you a hint as to our next issue theme. So you should become a member so you can watch the video. Thank you all for listening.
Bye.